Hello and welcome to Drunken Suits. I'm Bobby Carlson.
And I'm Will Crowbaugh.
Woo! Man, last episode we killed it. It was episode 10, a little special, a little different. So we're getting back to normality this time around. I'm so excited. I'm having so much fun doing this. For the first time viewers, we always do this one, but for the first time viewers, this podcast is about different cities across America and what they have to offer for bachelor parties. We try to talk about what's unique about them and what they have to offer, and then we give a rating. We also try to bring in different interviews, people talking about their trips or any crazy stories. So if you have a crazy story or you know anybody, please let us know.
Yeah, we're always looking for more to highlight more people here. So definitely let us know. But yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. Having a bunch of fun. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going, baby. Yeah. So real fun episode. We have a great guest coming on later in this episode. We're getting down in the details first of what this place is unique and what's offering. And today, what are we talking about, Crobo?
We are talking about Louisville, Kentucky. So
Woo-hoo!
this is gonna be a good one. But before we say anything else, I'm really curious. I know we've both done our research here, but what do you personally first, and then what do you in general think, like the general population, think the first thing that comes to mind when you hear Louisville, Kentucky is?
I would think Kentucky Derby.
Okay. See, that's what I think would be like the popular thing everybody would think. Is that what you think
Sure.
too?
Yeah. I mean, that's
Okay.
definitely what I would think.
I don't know. What I personally think is like Louisville Slugger. I don't know why that is. I like baseball. I mean, got the shirt on,
Yeah.
but hey.
I mean, you got a gross ass shirt, but
Well, I don't know about that, but
yeah.
I think that's really cool. There's a lot of unique things in Louisville. So I guess with that, we don't want to spoil too much. Let's just jump right in here and
Yeah.
start talking about it.
Let's do it. Yeah. You said it you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's unique. I there's a lot of all the stuff I was looking up. It's not like, all right, we get this in every city. There's a lot of different stuff, real cool. Population's pretty big to begin with. I saw it about 622,000.
Yeah, so that's for like the local area, and then we have the metro areas around 1.3 million. So it's sizable, but
Solid.
it's not, I wouldn't say one of the most massive cities.
Yeah, it's not massive. It's right on the Ohio River, which is kind of a cool little thing. It kind of does a little wrap around the city, which I think is just a cool little another aspect to it. I did see this. There's 16 to 19 million visitors a year to Louisville.
Interesting. That's way more than I would have thought. Um, I guess before doing this research, I didn't really have any reason to go. And sorry for any Louisville fans out there, but I didn't have any reason to be like, yeah, I really want to go to Louisville.
Yeah. But I
It
got to
does have
think,
its
though,
draw, but that's kind of
Kentucky
crazy to me.
Derby, though, Kentucky Derby is probably drawing in a big crowd.
That's a good point.
I didn't do the research further than that. I just saw 16 to 19 million. But I got to think, like, yeah, Kentucky Derby that week is going to be a heavy hitter for visitors.
Yeah, that's a good point. That probably takes a big share of that number just right there. So,
Yeah.
um, I did see though that the general costs, the cost of living, that kind of thing is a little bit lower than average. So that's something interesting to factor in. Could be a little bit more budget friendly city. Now it is a city still, so it's not going to be super cheap, but a little less than the average.
No, it's good. It's a good call out too. I think this is so. I'm going to read this out. I saw this. It's kind of talking about the nightlife, but in my research, I came across Yelp, and so Ryan 0826 said this, and this is quote, and I liked it a lot. Louisville is like a quiet Nashville. Nashville has the music industry, pro sports, and all the fixins that come with it and make it a tourist hotspot. Louisville does not. Plenty to do, plenty of places to go, but it's the quiet cousin of the on the outside. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that a lot.
Yeah, I could see that. It's generally same area of the country too. It has I will say I bagged on it a little earlier, but it has a lot of different unique draws if you look into it. So absolutely. I don't hate that description.
Yeah, I liked it. So let's talk about kind of, and then let's talk about a little bit of the stuff you can get into during the day.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to talk about Kentucky Derby, Churchill Downs. I think that's probably the first one, as we alluded to. The fastest 2 minutes in sports horse race. Um, I feel like everybody probably knows it. Don't need to really beat a nail. Beat a. What is the saying? Beat a beat a horse to death or something.
Kick a dead horse.
I don't know. We probably just butchered that.
Keep beating a dead horse.
Yeah,
Something.
that's yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
God, that's embarrassing. Um, so yeah, I mean, huge draw. Churchill
Did you
Downs.
watch the Kentucky Derby this year?
I did. I did.
Yeah, it's a fun
I
watch. I mean, you got to get into it a little bit,
yeah. You
and
always
then
got
it's
you got to pick a
over.
horse. You got
Mhm.
maybe make some bets with your friends or other places. But yeah, I mean, it's the one horse race that I watch every year. Don't know a thing about horse racing, but I always end up watching that one. So
You don't
it's the
always
Super
find
Bowl
funny
of
though.
horse racing.
It is, and I always find this funny though. It always definitely in the Olympic times when I don't watch a sport and I'm watching it, I think I am a pro and I know everything. Especially like you watch like figure skating in the Olympics, and you're like, I can't believe her legs together or like apart on that fourth spin. Like, come on, you're an Olympic athlete. Oh man, like it's great. You think you know everything, but yeah, Kentucky Derby. I found out this time around that you can only hit the horse in the back a certain amount of times. I think it's 8 times or 6 times for the entire thing. I thought they were there just smacking it the whole time.
I did too. Yeah, I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
How did they officiate that? I guess probably watch it afterwards, but
yeah,
huh,
yeah. They watch it after and stuff, but
interesting.
hey, go to Louisville and you want to check it out. I think there's really cool. There's a Kentucky Derby museum and then the Churchill Downs. So real
Yeah,
cool, real cool.
and the Churchill Downs does do other races too. So I mean, Bachelor Party weekend probably don't want to do the same exact weekend as the Kentucky Derby because it would be quite crazy, hectic, and expensive. But they do have other races, so if that's something you guys would be interested in, they got other ones there too.
I'm surprised you took that as like the first thing that we need to talk about. I just think Louisville, Kentucky, the thing to talk about is the bourbon culture.
Hey, that was
Yes,
gonna be my next
sir.
one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Early in the morning. How you doing? uh, Bourbon culture. There's the Bourbon Trail. I saw this little fact about the bourbon here. There's 46 distilleries stops based on like the two main tours that they give, but there is 12.6 million barrels across the state, which is 3 barrels per person of residents in the state.
That's incredible.
Isn't that incredible? Oh my god, 12.6 million barrels. Barrels are huge too. And
Yeah.
there's 3 per person just in the state.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, I mean, first, when I was researching and finding these things out and hearing this too, it's like, it makes me question. It's like, man, what else is there to do here if you got to drink that much to have fun? But, but no, huge bourbon influence. And, um, I mean, I think our interview will get into a lot of the details, and if you're a bourbon fan, this interview is going to be right up your alley. Um,
This
Maxie
whole
does a
city is going to be
great
right up your
job.
alley.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there are, I mean, you and I wouldn't say myself, I don't want to speak for you, but we're not like connoisseurs. We enjoy it, but I can't get into the super nitty gritty details of it, so I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah. Do you know the difference between a whiskey and a bourbon?
Yeah. What is it though? You can tell me.
I don't know it.
There's so many rules because then you got like, you got your Scotch, you got your Irish whiskey, you got your bourbon, you got
Malts.
yeah. I mean, I don't even want to embarrass myself by trying to explain the difference.
Yeah.
Go
Hey,
look it
you
up.
guys know. Yeah, you guys know. Leave it in the comments so other people can find out. Um, but I think you go to Louisville, you'll find all of that out. Even if you're not a huge fan now, you might be after. So I think you're right, though. The interview is going to handle a lot of talking about that, some of the different uniqueness of the tours and different stops you can go to. So stay tuned in here. You want to take on another cool thing to do in Louisville?
Yeah. So again, alluded to it earlier. I'm going to talk about the Louisville Slugger. Baseball fan of me finds this really interesting. The Louisville Sluggers, like iconic wood baseball bats that tons of MLB players use. This is where they're made in Louisville, Kentucky. They take a tour of their facility, right? You see how they're made. You see a lot of the history. A lot of the famous players that use the bat have signed bats. Um, to me, it would almost be like a disgrace not to stop in there while you're there if you do. But that's just me.
I think if you are a Yankee fan, you probably shouldn't travel anywhere because it's terrible. But yes, no, very cool. If you're a baseball fan, you're a bourbon fan, definitely check it out. Um, yeah, I think it's really cool that that's there. I feel like that's kind of like a pretty unique thing. You don't see everywhere. So yeah, pretty cool. Especially for baseball fans. I'm not so much a baseball fan, but I am a Phillies fan. Um, yeah, so very cool. I want to hit the next thing. I don't know if you saw this one, the Mega Cavern.
Oh, I did. This looks cool.
It is cool, right?
I
So
don't know why
there's
this is.
a
Before you get going, I don't know why this isn't like advertised or promoted more.
exactly. This should be one of the. It's the largest man-made cavern in America.
Crazy.
Like this is so cool. They drive, and it's like an hour and a half drive through it, and you can go zip lining in it. You could do all these like ropes courses in it, and you're under Louisville. You're
You're
like the
under the
whole city.
city. Yeah.
How cool is that?
Wild.
Why? Yeah, I looked that up and I saw it, and I was like this can't be right, right? Like, do you have to travel far out or something? No, man, it's right there. There are, if you start like zooming out, there's all these different kind of caverns and different stuff around Louisville. But this is the largest man-made one. It's huge. Would be so cool. I think. Like, I don't know. I could maybe see if your bachelor party wanted to pass on it, kind of thing, and it's more like history or I don't even know. But whatever. I think this is so cool. Like, I would love this.
I mean, I think coming from our points of view, where we like to do activities, outdoorsy type of things, maybe someone like Zach, who we talked about in the last episode, this might be something he would like to pass on. But I think you and me would eat this up, right? The zip lining, the ropes course, underground, just getting to see a whole different aspect, something that you pretty much can't see like in almost anywhere else. I don't know
Yeah,
how you
talk
pass that
about
up.
unique. Yeah, talk about unique, right? I mean, this is right there. I mean, how yeah, you don't see this everywhere. So, real cool. I think that's real cool. Um definitely look it up cuz yeah, I guess you're right, right? You're looking at these tours, brewery tours, distillery tours, and you're like, oh, it's a bachelor party. Should we get our drink on and everything? Or should we go do something? I think something like people need to understand is that there's so much time in a day. Go do this.
Yes.
It's an hour and a half, really not that expensive at all, too. It was like $20 a person to go explore this for like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought
Seems
that's
like a
so cool.
no-brainer.
Something you should do. That's what I thought too.
Another to
I
your
don't
other
know.
point too, right? Like yeah, it's fun to drink and everything. Maybe you bring a drink or two with you, but also it's like you can't drink all day. You got to take breaks, right?
Yeah.
Weave in some of these other things too. Don't forget to have fun, enjoy the city, right? This obviously is about the man about to get married, but it doesn't mean that everybody can't have a fun time, experience the city that they're into.
If you can't make it out at night, or if you, I think you either got to pick. You're drinking all day, and that's what you guys are doing, and that's what you're sticking to, or it's like, okay, then go do something, and then we can get drinks after, or do whatever. Like you kind of establish that early in the bachelor party is what's the vibe going to be. Hey guys, I really want to do this tour or go see this museum. I want to go in this cavern. Like I think that's really cool. But you got to establish it so people are kind of on the same page, know what to expect and going in. But dude, zip lining in a cavern. How does that make sense? I don't know, but I'm throwing it out there. I'd recommend it. Haven't done it, but I'd recommend it.
Yeah, no, I like it. Um, okay, well, I guess on a similar lines there too, to like taking advantage of the city that you're in. If you're a big boxing fan, Muhammad Ali Center. is a super cool, like 6-story event venue where it's just dedicated to his boxing career and his life. So if you know anything about boxing, you probably know Muhammad Ali. Might be a cool little stop to go into. Again, very iconic. This is where he grew up, so one of those. It's not going to be anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. What's his real name?
Cassius Clay, I
It's
believe.
Clay. That's right. Wait, Cassius Clay? No. Yeah. Oh wait, Eminem's name is like Marshall or something.
Marshall Mathers. Yep.
Yeah. All right. I remember it was like the CCM, like something like weird like that. You know, the double letters.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, we're good.
No, you're good. Um, I think that's kind
Yeah.
of we just pretty much summed up at least the very unique aspects to Louisville that you're not
I
going to
got
really have a comparison in other cities. What you got another one?
maybe you could compare this to a couple other cities, but the Ohio River, there are steamboat tours, which is kind of like a unique thing, and you get to see the skyline of the city and everything, and go around it, hear a little bit of history of it. I just think it's unique to that, like steamboats you don't see all the time and everything. But that's it really. I didn't really have much to say about it.
No, yeah, I mean, you don't want to downplay that. Like that's a very cool aspect too. I remember seeing too. I think it was like the Belle of Louisville is one of the oldest running steamboats too. So that's just another again unique aspect for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, then let's get into the nightlife here too. Oh, wait. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm backing up here. We can kind of do this as a transition to the nightlife. If you're eating lunch or dinner, there are a couple foods I saw here that are unique to the city that I wanted to bring up. Um, so they got hot browns. It's like
Okay.
a open turkey sandwich. It looks phenomenal. I was getting real hungry looking at all of these. There's also Derby pie, which is like a pecan and chocolate pie. You say pecan or pecan?
I don't really say it because I can't eat it, but
Oh yeah, you're one of those. You're one of those guys. Um, wow. Okay. Yeah, and so they also got this burgoo, which is like a stew, which is like a meat and vegetable stew. And then there's these bourbon balls, which is like a chocolate and bourbon little like dessert thing, like, and it's real cool looking. And then for drinks, real unique, I think, to the Kentucky Derby is the mint julep. You ever heard of
what's
this?
that? No.
It's a Derby drink. It's like a Moscow Mule kind of mint. Not Moscow Mule. I'm sorry, mojito kind of with the mint in it,
Okay.
and it's very very. If you watch Kentucky Derby, like that's the drink. Everybody's drinking that, so it's around there, but it's definitely more popularized during the Derby.
Okay. That's cool. I think one thing, and definitely highlighted by what you just said, that I kept coming across with all the food is like such a weird, not weird, just large diversity of different types of foods. It almost seems like a launching spot for different unique ideas or different restaurants. So I kept coming across all these different um, pop up things. I was like, wow, I've never really had anything quite like that or nothing with that influence. So um, keep your mind open when it comes to food if you're going to Louisville.
Definitely, definitely. But then after that dinner, there's a lot to do at nightlife. You want to get into that at all?
Yeah. So I mean the I guess we touched on it a little bit, right? The main strip is Whiskey Row. That's where like all your bourbon distilleries are. Maybe that's not necessarily a nighttime strict thing, right? Like you could do that during the day. You could do these tours, but there's going to be tons of different things to do on that strip. Um, there is, I guess, Nulu, which is maybe also more of a also daytime activity. It's kind of like that um, trendy, maybe artsy type of thing, but it has a lot of different restaurants, a lot of bars, a lot of um, that type of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, before we jump into the nightlife type of stuff, there's one thing is it's like this is probably the area where it maybe is a little bit lower compared to other cities. The nightlife
Big time.
doesn't seem to have a huge presence.
Yeah. Yeah. From what I found was that it's it's a little bit quieter. It's not like people are like, I see everybody at these distilleries and these tours. Why aren't they going out at night? And basically, what I found for going out at night is you want to head to the Highlands and go bar hopping on Bardstown Road, and you kind of
Okay,
start at Molly Malone's, and then you head south and keep going. Everything's walkable.
interesting. Um, yeah, so I don't know like some of these bars that I came across. I don't know if those are necessarily on that road, but I guess probably imagine they would be, or in one of the other sectors we just mentioned. I guess
I'm
I'll
gonna
just
I'm
name
gonna take
a
a
few. Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say
You got it.
I'm gonna guess that they are on this road because that's basically all of the Yelp and all of the Reddits and stuff. Everybody was saying like this road is where the nightlife is and the bars are, and that's kind of just like a known thing. Is like the crazier crowd you could say goes there, and the
Okay,
other bars and like laid back stuff it's scattered through the city, but like the fun, unique stuff on the bar side is on this road.
interesting. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you found any specific. The ones I kind of came across that kept popping up seemed interesting were Zanzibar, which was like live music, had some like old school arcade games in there. Seemed kind of cool. Hell or High Water, which is more of like a speakeasy. Rec Bar, another arcade bar, which was kind of weird. I don't know if maybe that's like something that they try to fit along those themes, but it seemed like it had a really big beer selection too of different unique things. Again, we talked about last episode. When you're in a city, it's kind of fun to drink the flavor of the beer. Maybe in this case, the bourbon, the flavor of the bourbon of the city. So cool aspect. And then the last one was the
Really cool.
Limbo, which was a tiki bar, and it has like a lot of weird cocktails. It probably has the one that you were talking about before, the mint based one that I already forgot the name of.
Mint Jubilee. Nope.
There we go.
Mint Julep. Mint Julep. That's it.
Cool. Yeah. So, um, I don't know if this is necessarily the place that you're gonna go if your group is like boom nightlife heavy clubbing out till four in the morning every night. It's
Yeah.
probably not the ideal scene for that. There are some options, but yeah,
Well, I think in this interview that we have coming up shortly here, we talk about some of the groups that, would vibe here and what wouldn't vibe here. I don't think the city's made for everybody, but it makes sense. I think the guys that like this kind of stuff is going to love it. It's like the city for going out and tasting these distilleries and stuff. But I could understand why some groups wouldn't like it, or maybe some members in groups. Um, I'm ready to listen to the guy that went there. How about you?
yeah, for sure. Like I said, we took it a little easy on the bourbon because he's gonna give us probably a better education than the two of us could give you. So yeah, absolutely, this is a good interview. Let's throw it over to Matt.
All right, we are here with Max. How you doing, Max?
Very good.
So Max just came out of a bachelor party in Louisville, Kentucky. We're gonna break it down today, what kind of happened. But the craziest part of it, it wasn't supposed to happen in Louisville, Kentucky at all, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. Had to switch up almost like a couple months before we left.
And so you were originally going to.
Yeah, so we were originally going to go to Asheville in North Carolina and do like the breweries and just kind of mill around the city. But after the hurricane, kind of Asheville wasn't really there anymore.
Mm.
And we ran into the problem where like the house was completely fine, but like all the breweries were closed. Our bus company had no buses anymore. So it was kind of like the host was very nice on Verbo and was able to like just get me a full refund. I had to cancel it on my end because, like she said, the house was like completely fine. But we were able to get a full refund to get out of there. Um, and then it was actually super easy to pick Louisville because I almost did it instead of Asheville. Because my cousin for his bachelor party went to Lexington, Kentucky, and we did the Bourbon Trail there. Had so much fun. But I was like, I already did it. Like, might as well try a different place. So it kind of was perfect where it was like, I kind of wanted to do it there anyway, and it just kind of happened.
Perfect.
Yeah, before we jump into Louisville, what was the original motivation for doing Asheville?
Yeah, so just one of my favorite breweries is Voodoo Ranger, New Belgium. And one of their breweries is down there in Asheville. So that was one of the big things I wanted to do was go to and take a tour of the New Belgium facility. And also I heard like Sierra Nevada is just so cool down there too. So I wanted to take a look at that.
I love those breweries. Those are great calls. Great calls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If they want to sponsor us, be happy to. Yeah, but then you switched it up to Louisville, Kentucky. Now, how much of this was like you planning it, or did you ever like your best man planning it?
Yeah, so my best man planned some of it. Like he took over and planned like one of the dinners we went out to, and stuff like that. But for the most part, like I planned it. I booked the house, super easy. And then the way they do it down there, it makes it like super easy. Is there's all these like just tour companies, and they'll have a bus. They're usually like I think 15 people or less in the bus. Because if you go bigger, which I didn't know, you actually need a CDL license to drive a bigger bus. So with the amount of people I had, we were originally going to have two buses. But as time came on, like some people dropped down, we were able to all fit into one, which was actually perfect. Um, but you basically tell them like what distilleries you want to go to, and then they plan it. They book all the tours for you. They pick you up at your house, drive you to all the facilities, have like a full itinerary for you, even stop for lunch somewhere. And they kind of just take over everything, which is like super nice, and
Yeah.
super easy to plan.
Yeah, it's really easy to plan when you're not really planning it. You just say, "Hey, we
Yeah.
want to go there," and they figure it out. Not bad.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
So,
deal.
yeah, how many guys were there at the end when it came to it?
I think we finished with 17 or 16. Yeah.
That's a solid group.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. And
And
how close was this to the wedding then?
So what, it went in January and the wedding is in July. So
July 12th. Yeah.
yeah, a couple months out.
Let's
nice.
go. That's awesome. Yeah,
So you
that's plenty of time too to recover from
Yeah.
drinking your face off. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So you said you went with like a house, a VRBO. What made you go that route instead of like traditional hotel or that type of thing?
So with the amount of people, like the hotels are always like nice, but I just wanted to be like with everybody and not have like everybody split off into different rooms. Um and the reason I chose like Verbos, I just find their houses to be a little more unique and like cheaper. And it was actually funny because our Airbnb or whatever you want to call it, our house was actually not in Kentucky. Our house was in
Wow.
Indiana because Louisville's like right on the river right there. So our house was right over the river. And it was funny because like I didn't even realize it. So like I'm sending all these like the address as we get closer so everybody can get there and everything. And my brother-in-law texted me. He's like, "Yeah, it's cool. We're staying in Indiana." And I was like, "What?" And I like freaked out. I was like, "Did I book the wrong house?" And like looking it up on a map, and it's literally just right across the river.
And you can bet in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I think there's casinos in Indiana, but not in Louisville.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome though. That planned out, bunch of people. I mean, that's probably hard to coordinate getting everybody there. How long did you stay there?
So we stayed there. We all got there Friday and then left Monday. So I did it over, I think it was MLK weekend, which was nice because most people had that Monday off too. So you only really had to take one PTO day.
Yeah, that's always half the battle, is just trying to make everyone's schedule work together.
Yeah.
So it was a good call on your part. But
So
hey,
going
dude,
in January.
It was cold.
Yeah.
It was probably colder than it was here, and like I didn't even realize that.
And here you're talking about New Jersey, right? You're in New Jersey right now?
Yeah, New Jersey.
hope you brought your jacket.
Yeah, I wasn't going to, and then my fiance Molly was like, "No, you are packing a coat." And I'm happy I did, because on Sunday it actually snowed as we were like walking around the city and everything.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wow. So, I mean, I want to hear about what you guys did there. And so you kind of went into it with the buses and different breweries and stuff, but I would love to hear it. So Friday to Monday, I'm guessing like Friday you got there, maybe hung out and stuff, but Saturday and Sunday is the main punch.
Yeah, so it was, everybody kind of flew in at different times. So Friday, I got in around like probably like 2 o'clock or something like that. And most of the people were actually on my flight. So I think we had like 8 people on my flight. Excuse me. Which was also really fun because it was a super small plane, and basically half the plane was my friends. And
That's
it was
a
funny.
personal jet.
Yeah, and it was funny because I had already booked my flight for Asheville, which they were not cheap flights, actually. They're pretty expensive. But I was able to just switch my flight and just move it to location. And the thing is, I always like book on the Hopper app, so whatever airline's cheapest, I book. I have no allegiance. And the way they were, I think I flew United. The way they were doing it is they were just giving me a credit back. I was like, well, I'm probably not going to use the credit because I'm just going to book whatever's cheaper. So I got the credit down as low as I could by flying first class on the way down.
Hey.
Which was funny because like we were literally like the second row, so all my friends are just walking past me. But it was nice. We drank them out of their Buffalo Trace on the plane, which was hilarious.
Oh my god!
One of the distilleries I wanted to go to is Old Forester, and it's like right in downtown Louisville. Like they call it Whiskey Row. But they weren't part of the tour we were doing on Saturday, and they were closed on Sunday. So I was like, all right, we'll just all meet there. See, we didn't do a tour, but like we just sat at the bar, and like everybody just kind of met there as they flew in. And it was really nice. We just sat at the bar, got flights of, I did like the expensive flight, so I got to try like the birthday bourbon and like all their like really top shelf expensive bourbons. And we just kind of chilled there from like 3 o'clock to like 5 o'clock, just drinking at the bar as people came in. And then went to the house. Well, first we needed to get alcohol. So once we left the distillery, I found on my phone that there was like a liquor store like a block away. So we were like, oh, okay, we'll just walk there. So like, 10, 11 of us are just walking with suitcases like on the streets. And like we all have the big suitcase because we checked our bags to bring booze home. But we get there and the liquor store was a drive-through only. So we're like, oh, this isn't going to work. So then we had to walk all the way back to the distillery and then find another liquor store.
Oh my god.
And then
you couldn't walk through the drive-through?
Nah, they wouldn't let us. And then we ended up like buying the store out of like their Happy Dads and Michelob Ultras. Just had to like get 3 Ubers to just get us all back to the house.
That's great.
Yeah, but then we just like chilled out at the house like Friday night. Ordered groceries in, so we didn't have to like go to a grocery store, just like Uber Eats did or whatever.
Perfect. And then Saturday comes. How early do you start the tour? I mean, after drying out the plane, drying out a distillery, and then the liquor store, I'm feeling like you guys don't wake up early, right?
Yeah, so that's the problem. The bus picked us up at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
Because like the distilleries are all like an hour to an hour and a half away. So like the way our bus company did is we started at the farthest one and then worked our way back to Louisville. So it was like an hour and 30, I think, to the first one, which was Maker's Mark. And it was really funny. Like,
great one too. Maker's Mark, yeah. Love them.
It was so funny because like the whole ride there, everybody's quiet in this bus. Like people are sleeping. Like we weren't doing well. But we get to Maker's Mark like right as they opened up and did our tour. Probably the coolest distillery we did the whole day. Just with the history, it being like so old, it was amazing. We took the tour of the facility and everything, learned some history, and then they brought us to the tasting room, and we got to try, I think, 3 bourbons. We tried like the normal Maker's Mark, the cast strength Maker's Mark, the Maker's Mark 46, which is like the French oak stave one, and then this like experimental series they do. So 4 bourbons. Yeah, super fun. And then they brought us to the gift shop, which is always the best part. So one of the things we did here, I should have got this before. So
I like it, having it ready right there.
At the distilleries, they do, you get pins. So we got pins of like all of the distilleries we went to. And that's like awesome. I made hats. Molly made hats for everybody. So we had them all over our hats. So every place we went, we got a new pin and put it on our hat. But one of the things they did at Maker's Mark is you could actually dip your own bottle.
Yeah.
So I got to pick a bottle and actually dip it myself in the wax and everything.
No now, way. Did you do a good dip or did you have it like full bottle? Like,
so up? I wanted to do the full bottle, but it's like a shallow thing. So like I went in on an angle hard and I got a pretty good dip.
That's great. That's great. Because I've seen them before where it's like, it's really cascading down. Like, yeah.
But it was funny. And then we get on the bus and we're all like screaming. And like it was a complete 180 of what we were in the morning. It was so funny.
It's a little hair of the dog, right?
Yeah. And then our next stop was Bardstown, Bardstown Bourbon Company in Bardstown, Kentucky. It was really cool. It's like kind of a newer age distillery, so it was cool seeing the contrast of like Maker's Mark, where it's like so old, so historic, and then like Bardstown, where they're like new, like their facility reminds you of like an Apple store. Like it's pretty big glass windows, like scientific, like top of the line everything. There we started with a tasting, and they actually let us like get stuff at the bar first. So like I got an old fashioned at the bar and then went up to a tasting and we got to try like their like clear distillate and then like 3 other like bourbons. And then he's like, yeah, if you don't finish it, just like take a glass with you. So I'm walking with like a glass and then my old fashioned. And then they took us into like the room where they like actually like ferment and do all the distilling and everything. And the guy actually let us taste the mash bill as it was like cooking, which was pretty cool. And he was just like, yeah, just stick your fingers in it. Like all of us just sticking our hands in this fucking big pot. Like this, probably not sanitary, but which was really cool to do. And then he took us to like the rick house so we could see like where some of it's aged and everything. And one of the rick houses is like full solid glass on the outside because they're trying this new like aging process where they age with like direct light instead of like the normal just like dark warehouse. But we go into the rick house, and then they had a barrel in there and he just pulled right out of the barrel some shots for all of us, which is really good. Probably the best bourbon we tried the whole trip, in my opinion. Wow. It was super good. And then from there, we just went back to the gift shop and ended the tour. And then we actually ate lunch there, which was really good. But it was a really cool experience seeing the two contrast ones. And then from there we went to Heaven Hill Distillery, and that was a little different because it wasn't a tour. What we did was like the bottling experience. So what it is they gave us like 4 different bourbons that they do, from like Elijah Craig, Larceny, like all this stuff, and then tasted them. Whichever one you liked, you had the option to buy a bottle of it and actually bottle it yourself. So then they give you the empty bottle. You have to put all the stickers on it, which is really cool. And then fill it yourself, seal it, cork it, and everything.
That's awesome.
Which was really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I guess you guys all got a bottle, right? You guys all did it?
Yeah.
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 But by that point, we were a little drunk, so it was like, why not?
Which is genius of them, too. Like, get them hammered. These kids are definitely buying one.
I was going to say the second one did it right with the having you drink first before the tour.
I know.
How long, all in all, do you think it took?
I think we got home around like 5 o'clock, 5:30. So from like 8 to 5. Yeah.
It's a long day drinking.
Yeah, very long day. A lot of time in the car too, like just going between the different distilleries and everything. I will say on the way home, most of us fell asleep on that bus.
Yeah. But then you get home, do you like instantly start going out or like keep it going? Or is it like everybody nap, everybody shower and relax?
I was pretty much just keep it going.
Let's
we
go.
got back, people took showers, like changed out of like put on comfier clothes. And the really nice thing actually was football was still on at that time. So we were able to just like go right into watching the playoffs. And I'll just chilled on the couch, watch the playoffs. And then that day we ended up just like grilling outside, which was not the best day. It was very cold, but
oh yeah, I forgot. It's January, right? So, yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah, it was fun. And then we just kind of like hung out all night. They had a cornhole in the backyard, so we all outside in the freezing cold played cornhole. Snow all over the floor. It was hilarious.
Drink yourself a jacket there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys get any competitions, a little wagering going on with that?
No, not really.
Just... Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too hammered to be thinking about that. Well, that's awesome. And then Sunday came around. Did you do another tour?
So no, Sunday I wanted to just kind of keep it like chill. So one of the other things I really wanted to do there was do the Louisville Slugger Museum. So we got to go to the Louisville Slugger factory and took a tour of the factory, which was really cool. We all got to get like mini bats. But it was just cool seeing like how the bats are made. They had a big machine in there where like everybody that has come in has like signed when they come in to like make their pro bat, which is really cool. And then from there, just kind of like milled around because there was a couple of distilleries I still wanted to go to. One of the big ones was Michner's, but it was closed for renovations that whole week, which was a bummer. But most of them didn't open until like later in the day, like around like 12, and I think we left at like 10 to get the first slot in Louisville. So we ended up just going to this bar, actually, that was like the highlight of the trip. Everybody loved it. It's called Troll Pub. And it was just a giant troll outside, and it was a bar under a bridge. Just ended up, sitting there until like 12 o'clock drinking till the distillery's open.
Kind of a genius name, though, right?
Yeah. Very, very cool bar. Everybody loved it. Their old fashions were very good. But then from there, we just went and walked around the city. We ended up going to like Angel's Envy. Nice. They couldn't fit us in for a tour, so we just ended up like shopping around the gift shop. And then we went to Evan Williams. Didn't do a tour there either. Just went upstairs, sat at the bar, ordered flights, and just drank until about the Eagles game started. And then we all went back to the house and watched the Eagles.
Now, the baseball nerd in me. I don't know if you saw. I got the bat here, but
Yeah.
I'm real curious about this Louisville Slugger to jump back there.
Yeah.
So you saw the big bat outside?
Yeah.
Awesome. And was that like a cool experience? I've always wanted to go.
It was a really cool experience. It was pretty cheap. I think it was like $20 for a ticket. And it was really cool. You know, it was a short tour, maybe like 30 minutes. They took us in. We saw like the bats getting like lathed and made and everything. And just talking about the process of like how they come about it, what it starts out as, and product. And just like some of the custom bats they've done for like charities and like the Crayola bats and like all that stuff. And then it ends in like a museum where they have like, you know, some memorabilia and stuff, big wax figures of like Hank Aaron and stuff like that. They had this like live simulator where you could stand behind like a catcher, and they had like Randy Johnson like throwing his fastball at you. So you could see like from a batter's perspective, this like 100-mile-an-hour ball coming at you. And that was wild.
Yeah.
But then they have like a section where they have a bunch of like actually used bats that you can take pictures with and hold. So like my one friend did Hank Aaron and held Hank Aaron's bat. Me being the Met fan, I held Darryl Strawberry's bat, had to.
Nice.
But it was so cool, just like being there. And then in the gift shop, you could actually get your own like bat with like laser engraved your name on it and everything. Thought about doing it, didn't know how I would get it home. But
Yeah.
That might be a little tough, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Weapon
you got the
on
mini
board.
bats, right?
yeah, we got the mini bats. We had to look up if we could fly with them. We could though.
Good. I mean, I guess you could fly with like golf clubs and different.
Yeah.
Like people fly for sports, so I get that makes sense. Wow. So I mean, this sounds like a great weekend. I mean, for a backup weekend, this is like it sounds like just one hell of a time.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun, so relaxed, and just like, you know, drank a ton of bourbon, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Ended up flying home with 6 bottles, which is the limit.
Still live it. That's great.
And most people ended up like bringing stuff home, and it's funny because like, you know, me and my cousins are really like the biggest like bourbon drinkers. Like everybody else kind of just isn't that big of a fan, but I think most people left the trip being like big bourbon fans to the point where,
I mean,
like,
how can
you know, they're
not, right?
yeah, they're texting me, they're like, I just got this bottle today, and it's like, yeah, I converted everybody.
Mission
That's
accomplished.
awesome. So if guys aren't bourbon drinkers, or like, I guess what would you say is like the right kind of group of guys that should send it to Louisville, Kentucky?
Yeah,
for
I
a
mean,
bachelor party?
I would say, like, if you really just enjoy like bourbon, because like Louisville's different. Like, you know, there is that nightlife you can go out to. I chose not to. I just wanted like a relaxing weekend. But you know, that is the big draw of it, is just doing these like distillery tours. And like when I went the first time for my cousin's bachelor party in Lexington, I wasn't a big bourbon drinker really at all. And kind of like forced myself to enjoy the trip really. And I
Yeah.
left his trip being a ginormous bourbon fan as well. So I think it kind of like converts you if you aren't. But it's just cool because you get like, you know, you do get that like history of like all these distilleries, you know, it's old. But you also, it's just a great time.
It's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
And you said there is nightlife, but you decided not to do it. Was that a decision you made like prior? Like you kind of let everybody know, like, hey guys, I'm thinking about just kind of like packing the day in with these tours and going out, but chilling at night? Or is that kind of decision like when you were there, you were like, I'm ready to head back?
Yeah, I mean, I like, I think when I like told everybody what the plan was, I was like, you know, this is what I want to do. Like, some of my friends, like, on Saturday night ended up going out, and I was like, do whatever you want. Like, I don't want to, but if you want to, do it. So it's kind of like, just, you know, do what you want to do. I had the stuff planned during the day. That's what I want you to do. But like, if you want to go out, go out. I don't care.
But I mean, you guys were having fun though. I mean, it sounds like you guys were just drinking, watching sports, playing games. Like that's not a bad
Yeah.
night at all.
No.
Nice.
So you said you walked around for a little bit. How would you say like the transportation is around the city? Is it walkable? Is it easy to get Ubers, that kind of thing?
Super easy to get Ubers. They do have like the bird scooters too, which is fun. um, and then
16 of you guys on bird scooters ripping through town. Jesus.
I mean, we only really stayed like downtown, like towards like Whiskey Row. On Sunday, we ended up doing like a dinner at a Cuban restaurant in like Nulu, which is like kind of outside of downtown. So we just Ubered there, Ubered back home.
Wait, is this a Cuban restaurant? The Bodega Mima, something like that?
I do not know. I do not know the name of it.
Probably scratching that real hard, and I'll look that up later. But I saw that's like a very famous Cuban restaurant in Nula.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is, to be honest. Because that my best man was the one that booked that, because he went there previously when he went there for a work trip, and he said like everybody in Louisville said you have to go there. And it's funny, you think like Cuban food in Kentucky, like not really what they're known for, but our Uber driver actually enlightened us on it, where he said, and this could be wrong, it's coming from my random Uber driver, but he said that Louisville actually has the second highest Cuban population next to like Florida, Miami, which I did not expect or think would be true, but
yeah. I mean, we did a Miami episode and we talked about the Cuban influence, but never would I have thought to talk about it into this episode. So I'm gonna have to look that up more, and we'll talk about it on the back end then, because that's interesting. Because I mean, never would have thought of that.
Yeah,
and apparently that's the most trustworthy source. I mean, random Uber drivers know everything apparently, so I like it.
Yeah, and apparently very good sushi too in Louisville, because I guess a lot of like the ships come in through Louisville, and it's one of the biggest, like they have the aquariums to store them before shipping them out all over. Which also I didn't expect.
Did you notice? I mean, I'm just thinking here. Do you think like KFCs are just called FCs there? Like everybody just knows it's just.
Well, they're not in Kentucky anymore. They're opening a new facility, I think in Texas. So they're leaving. Yeah, they're leaving Kentucky.
Wow. Nah, I'm just messing around, but dude, this trip, I mean, that sounds like a great time. Now, like thinking back on it, knowing what you know of it, would you have rather still went to Asheville, or are you like real happy you went here?
So happy we went here. And my thing was Asheville was just turning out to be like, it wasn't going to be as organized. Because of the breweries I wanted to go to, like it wasn't like Louisville where like I call this bus company, this is what I want to go to. They book the tours, they buy the tickets. We were really just going to have a bus like take us to 4 breweries that I wanted to go to, and like we might not have been able to get tours, like nothing. It was very like not as booked as this ended up being. So I was a lot happier with this, because like I wanted to do those tours, and like I don't want to just go to a brewery and just drink at their bar. I can just buy their beer at home.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean this seems so great. I mean, what would you say? Like, you said that you had like the best whiskey, or like, what was like the best part of this trip? Like, or like craziest part, or like you saw someone like get so hammered. Like, what was like the trip, like part of the trip no one will forget?
Honestly, Troll Pub.
Troll Pub. All right.
It's still a joke to this day. Because like, so my 2 friends and Molly's brother were the first ones in. And I had told everybody like I want to meet at Old Forester, I want to do this. So they were actually the ones that found Troll Pub. It's like right around the corner. So they like got lunch there, like we're drinking until everybody else arrived, and they just would not shut up about this place. Like they would work it into every conversation. They'd be talking about bourbon, and like, hey, you know who has good bourbon? Troll Pub. And so like we're all like, shut the fuck up. And then so Sunday I was like, all right, we all have to go to Troll Pub. We need to see what this is about.
Yeah.
So I think was definitely the most memorable thing. Out of all like the distilleries we saw, I would say, I think it's pretty unanimous that Maker's Mark was really the coolest out of all of them. Probably the worst was Heaven Hill, but it was still like cool getting to bottle your own bottle and everything.
Definitely.
Gotta
Man, I'm just
appreciate
thinking.
the history of it all, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking. You said sushi is so popular in Kentucky. Like getting sushi at Troll Pub, where you're under a bridge in Kentucky, just doesn't sound fresh or anything about it. It sounds like you're getting sick.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it was cool. Another thing about like Maker's Mark, they do this thing called like their ambassador program. So I'm an ambassador, so I actually have a barrel at Maker's Mark that in 8 to 9 years, whenever they deem it ready, you can actually go and buy up to 6 bottles out of your own barrel.
That's awesome.
What? That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So a couple people signed up and are now ambassadors.
Wow.
And it's funny, my dad's barrel is 8 years old at this point, so he should be getting the call anytime to get his whiskey. So we're gonna go back and get his bottles.
Perfect.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is so cool. Wow. And it's like what, you have like first priority then on that barrel?
Yeah. I guess so. I think you can buy 6 bottles, up to 6 bottles out of it, and then I guess the rest just goes into like normal production. Or there might be like multiple, like 10 names to a barrel or whatever. I think out of a barrel is like 240 bottles. So
that's nuts. That's so cool though. I mean, cool that did you get to like see your name on the barrel when you were there?
So I wanted to. They could not show me it, but the tunnel where you walk into the gift shop is where they have all the barrels. So it was funny. I was like, she's like going through a spiel, and I like interrupt her. I was like, "Are these like? Do all of them have your name on it?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Wow." I was just like amazed because I thought it was like some gimmick, like, "Yeah, that's your barrel, sure," but like no, they actually have like metal plaques on it, and I actually have one. I bought it.
Let's go.
I love this. I like that room back there must be just decked out with whiskey and bourbon. It's gotta be so cool.
It's got to be like the ultimate little bar room. That's amazing.
I love this. Just come back with gifts.
All right, so this is my plaque. You can see it's hard to see, but it's got my name, my ambassador number, and my barrel number over here.
Wow, that's
which is really cool. This is the bottle I dipped.
Nice.
So that's my dip job.
Nice. That's a pretty good dip. That's a good one.
This is the bottle that I bottled myself. So I put all the stickers on it. You can see like I wrote Wolf Pack. That's what we were calling everybody. Like the date and everything on it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, which I'm actually gonna open this like at the wedding and like have like all the people on my bachelor party and my like groomsmen and everything, like the dads included, and just like try it.
Gotta say, I think that is genius. Yeah, incredible experience. I think that's so genius. Like being able to tie in the bachelor party to the wedding, like and like bringing those guys together again, just like giving a cheer. Oh man, that's so cool. That just blew my mind actually. Like I think that's so cool. Like being able to tie that together.
Yeah.
All right. One other thing on Louisville here. What was kind of the cost of everything? Where would you rate that among other cities you've been to?
It actually wasn't that bad. I think the house came out to probably the most, besides the flight. The flights weren't that bad. I would say the flights were around like $300 to $400. Well, that's just flying in the United States. It's just not cheap anymore. I think the house came out to being like $250 to $300 a person, which wasn't bad for 4 nights. And then the tour was, I think, $125 a person. And that's inclusive of like the bus, all the tickets to all the tours and everything, all the tastings.
That's not bad. I mean, you could spend that much in just how much you tried of alcohol there too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a deal.
Yeah, it
Wow.
ended up being very cost effective, actually.
Man, this city's it seems like it's pretty appealing.
Yeah, ready to get my drink on in Louisville. And you got to say it right, right? Like it's got to be Louisville, or they'll come at you, right?
I don't know. I avoided saying because I didn't know the correct pronunciation, and I didn't want to.
Louisville.
Louisville.
Well, to end this up here, we ask you then, what would you rate Louisville, Kentucky for a bachelor party? 1 out of 10. Give us your point, whatever, and like walk us through your thinking process of where you come out with this number.
I mean, I'm honestly 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Because like
That's crazy.
But it's
That's
also
amateur hour. Come on, you went in January. Come on.
It's also like I don't know if it's for everybody though, because like you go to Miami, like you know what you're getting. You're going to clubs, you're having fancy dinners. Like this is very much like you're drinking bourbon. You have to like bourbon. Like that's the main draw is doing these distillery tours. And then like you can make it chill or you can go crazy at it.
That's fair.
Nice,
I like it.
Unique and diversified approach there. Okay.
Yeah. And sushi under a bridge at Troll Puff. Where else are you getting that? No, Max, that's great. 10 out of 10. Bold rating, but man, it seems like you had a great time, and I just want to thank you again for coming on the podcast, man. It's been great.
No, of course. Thank you for having me.
And good luck at your wedding. Have a blast.
Thank you.
Hope that bottle is good and brings them some good memories too.
Yeah. Right. Stuff you won't remember, but good times.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Max.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Max. That was a great interview. What'd you think, Bobby?
Oh, man, he killed it. I mean, it sounded like he had such a fun time. And his wedding's coming up. Oh, man, I can't wait for it. Congratulations to Max and Molly. But it sounded like what a great bachelor party.
Yeah, congratulations. Sounded really cool. I think it was perfect timing too, having our previous episode with Zach, who's like a huge beer connoisseur. Now we get to talk to Max, big bourbon connoisseur. Really kind of gain his insight there. I thought it was very educational for me, someone who enjoys bourbon, doesn't necessarily know all the ins and outs. Kind of got me a little excited. I was like, man, I could like do one of these tours, maybe have fun, maybe like dip my own bottle. That sounds like fun.
Got me a little thirsty.
A little bit, yeah.
I like it. Yeah, no, Max, appreciate you so much coming on. If anybody else out there has an interview like that or story to tell, we would love to interview you. So please come on.
Yeah. I mean, one thing to note too, I was just mentioning the tours. It's really cool how they have these like down to a science, super well organized. Sounds like they're very well worth it. When it comes to both like your time for money value and also like drinks that you get included. It seems like a really, really cool opportunity, especially if you're a bourbon fan.
And being a bourbon fan and not picking here initially, how funny is that? Going to Asheville to start, which is a great move. I think Asheville will definitely do an episode on it and stuff. But the hurricane came in, pretty much put it underwater and mud, and then he had to do a switch up and found kind of a great transition here. So pretty cool.
Yeah, so that seems like it might have been a silver lining, right? To have that happen in Nashville is a shame, but ended up going to Louisville. It sounded like it worked out kind of ideally for Max here.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to put anybody under anything, but I know the bride well, and I think she had a great bachelorette party too. Maybe even on the crazier side of bachelorette parties. So, what a dynamic duo! I can't wait for their wedding. Congratulations to both of them. But yeah, pretty cool. A Friday to a Sunday little adventure here. Friday starting it off. Love that he emptied the plane of Buffalo Trace, man.
Amazing.
Are you kidding me? That's
Setting the
awesome.
tone early. I love that.
Oh, last episode we said the first beer with on the bachelor party with your boys, but did not think of cleaning out the plane first drink with the boys.
And then to keep it rolling that day and into that night too. I mean, hats off, Max. That's impressive.
And then the worst part, waking up at 8 a.m. the next day to get on the bus.
To drink more bourbon.
To drink a whole lot of bourbon. What I do appreciate about this group, though, that he was with, he said on the next bus ride, they were all jacked up, had the music going. Sometimes you just need that hair of the dog. You take that first sip or a couple sips, and you're right there again. So I think that's really funny. What he said is like the group just did a full 180.
It's amazing. It is amazing what the hair of the dog can do. I will die on that hill. But 16 to 17 guys too, and everybody's a zombie, and then everybody's like, boom, okay, it's time to figure it out and get going and just embrace it. So that's cool to have that kind of a group and get that kind of camaraderie and buy-in.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. I thought this was so funny, him talking about the troll pub. Like, I think that was maybe the funniest part of the whole thing. What? Sushi under a bridge, right? Like, and just tons of beer under a bridge with a huge statue of a troll outside. That's awesome. That is so awesome.
It really reminded me, like, this seemed like it could be a scene out of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was like, are you just like quoting the show right now? No, it's a real thing. If we have a picture, we could probably pop it up right now. Like, there is actually a little troll there. It's hilarious.
I think if it was Always Sunny, though, it would be like Danny DeVito is the troll.
Probably, yeah.
He looks like a troll, dude. Oh my god. I don't know. I think he knocked a foot off of my height. I might be there right with him. Oh man. That's a classic show. That's a classic show. So funny. So funny.
Big fan of that show. But right, jumping back to it, the troll pub is pretty sweet. It looked very cool. I definitely had to do a little research after the episode, and I was like, wow, this is actually, I could see why they wanted to come here.
Definitely. No, it's so fun. I'm so glad he had a good time there too, and I think that's one of those things where it's like the unplanned moments can be turned into some of the most fun moments. So that's real cool.
Yep. Again, to your point, right? Don't want to overplan too much so that you can have experiences like the troll pub.
And I think some really good advice that came out of him. If you're a bachelor party going to Louisville, pack some empty suitcases so that you have room to bring bottles back with you, and look up how many bottles you can fly with and get that right, because you don't want to be at the airport chugging in line bourbon if you pack that extra bottle.
That's not only a tough scene, but that's just like a tough pill to swallow. That's
yeah, you're not throwing it out, right? So
probably not, right? Yeah, that's whew. Dude, that's good planning on his part. Didn't know. Also, a good tidbit just for y'all to know: 6 bottles is the limit that you can fly with. In case anybody's planning on being a mobile liquor store. But there you go. Now you know.
I'd recommend putting it in the suitcase with your clothes and wrapping it tightly around it so it doesn't break. But we're not here to do that. Come on, that's you guys who can figure that one out. All right. Well, I got to bring this up too. I thought this was one of the classiest things I've ever heard, is on the bachelor party, getting a bottle, saving it for the wedding, then corking it, right? And you're going to open it not just with your groomsmen, but also bring your parents in and the bride-to-be's parents in. I think that's just such a classy move. Like, that Max, dude, great thinking of it, and just great idea.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. And then that got me thinking too, right? It could always be maybe something I would recommend to find something from the bachelor party that like allows to tie into the wedding to really just like solidify the memorable experience that the wedding day is. Not only that, but like the bachelor party and the boys that you have there in your um, in your circle, right? That just makes it that much more memorable, you know. So I love what
Definitely.
you did there, Max, and I think that would be something I'd encourage people to take inspiration from and do your own spin on.
If there are people out there with their own spin, I would love to hear those because I think that's something really cool. Having that little touch and little creativity of, kind of, it's also reassuring to your parents and her parents that you're not just full drunken debauchery going on at all times. It's you got a head on your shoulders too. So I think that's a pretty cool aspect in my
Yeah,
vision.
yeah, we talk about the fun party atmosphere a lot, but it is always a good reminder that this is part of a bigger picture and a bigger step. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the what 2 episodes ago with a groomsman with the stripper glitter still mixed in his beard or whatever it was. This is a class move. Yeah, you don't want to bring that to the wedding. Yeah, bring a bottle. I like it.
for sure, for sure. I mean, hey, I don't know what you're thinking, but how are you feeling about this rating that Max gave us here?
Max, I love you. Love you to death, man. What an amateur rating. 10 out of 10. Come on. Yeah, right. 10 out
to
of 10.
to Max's point,
Ah,
to his understanding. If I put myself in his shoes, um, and understand, right, like big bourbon fan, pretty much exactly what he wanted was what this city had to offer, and did it at probably a more affordable price than the others had to do it. So I get why he gave it the rating that he did. I just think my interests and what I would want on a bachelor party aren't quite the same, so I don't think I'll be giving the same rating.
I think though too. He did say this, but it's this city is not made for everybody, and I think I said that earlier too. So I think that's an understandable for the people that do go there and know what to expect out of it and really like that bourbon. This is going to make sense for them, but for the people that are not, I don't see the city being up there.
Yeah. I think the way that it kept coming to me in my mind is that I think this would be a really fun city to go and visit just as like a normal trip or like a more low key guys trip.
Yeah.
But I don't think that me personally I would want to do a bachelor party here. That's just kept what replaying in my head as I was diving more into it.
I didn't even look up, like, is there golf around here? Which I think there would be. I think Kentucky's filled with some golf, but um, I could see this being a good guys trip, like you're saying, or like a college reunion, fraternity reunion kind of thing. You get your whiskeys. You're kind of like, I think it's kind of that older guy, classier place. I think bachelor parties go a little bit more off hinge, and so this one might be that little quieter scene, a little bit, down to earth and classier. So I see it more as that kind of older version trip that you guys do, more than just like a bachelor party.
Yeah. Well, hey, what do you think? Should we jump into our ratings there? I think we're talking about our analysis. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of just broke it down. Yeah, do you want to break it down first and give me your rating?
Sure. Um, so before I do that, we'll just jump through and summarize some of these points. Um, Huge bourbon distillery scene, lots of breweries, beers, that kind of thing. I think that's a pro. Has a lot of unique things like the Louisville Slugger, the Kentucky Derby, this cavern we're talking about. A little bit more, a little more affordable than the average city. Definitely more affordable than like your Vegases, your Miamis, your New Yorks, that kind of thing. So that's a pro. And it did seem like there was a lot of options for different like lodging places and accommodations like VRBOs and Airbnbs. So I think all that kind of gives it maybe a leg up. Then we come back to the negative side of things. The nightlife is really not there. There are bars, but it's definitely not going to be a major aspect, not going to be a key highlight. The weather, I think Max touched on it too in the time year that they went. It can be pretty cold in the winter. If it's not the winter, you're not worrying about snow. It can be pretty rainy at times too. Something to take into consideration. And then one other thing that I found interesting, the crime rate is really, really high. It's like double the national average here. And I'm talking like violent crimes. So
maybe that's why the cost of living so low.
It very well could be, yeah. Now, I mean, this is probably not in the touristy focus areas, which you would likely be, but it's not necessarily reassuring. So I think all these different points here are going to sum up, and I'm going to give it a 7.1. I think it has the potential. It has a lot of the pieces that you maybe want in a trip, but maybe not specifically for a bachelor party, for like the traditional idea of a bachelor party.
Okay. I'm going to go different here. I see it more as a 5.4. I know, a little bit different. I just truly think, especially with that, I didn't even know about the crime, so I think that's pretty good where I'm at. I just truly think the people that go here will love it. The people that don't won't at all. I don't think there's enough to do outside. Like we said, there was some cool stuff, the caverns, the Kentucky Derby. Like it's a lot of museum stuff, a lot of tours. Like so, it's a lot of like you're walking around, seeing different things. I don't know if you're really getting active all that much though. Like I don't know if it's all there for your active group, your drinking group, unless it's bourbon or beer. Like your drinking group, it could be fun, but on the tours, you're not just slamming them back, or you're not going to ragers or parties. So I think that 5.4 is pretty good there. Sports, it kind of lacks. There's some soccer and some AAA teams. It's just, yeah, I don't know. You can't bet. You got to go into Indiana, which isn't that far, but it is what it is. I think that's pretty fair. 5.4.
Okay. I think that might be a little harsh there, but hey, it's your rating, right? That's exactly. But that's not the point of this. We're not supposed to agree on it all. So you get to see some different perspectives and where we're both coming from.
Hey, and you know what? You want to prove us wrong? Invite us to your bachelor party. We'll come and give you an honest rating after. If you're going to Louisville, I'll be there.
And you can get featured on the show.
Absolutely. Well, with all that being said, this is a great episode. Thank you for joining me here at Crowbath, and to our listeners, thanks for listening. Can't wait for you guys to hear the next one.
Appreciate it. We'll see you.
It's the last hurrah before the big day. Stories run wild in the craziest way. From Vegas nights to the beach town vibes. From after no party, you're in for a ride. It's the last hurrah before the big day. Stories run wild in the craziest way. From Vegas nights to beach town vibes.